Skylanders looked like a simple children's toy line, but behind those bright figurines sat a billion-dollar idea: merge the physical toy world with a living digital one. At its height, Skylanders outsold Star Wars toys, dominated the holiday charts, and transformed living rooms into battlefields lit by the glow of a plastic portal. Then, just a few years later, it was gone. In 2011, Activision and the California studio Toys for Bob took a risk. They reimagined Spyro the Dragon, a dormant PlayStation mascot from the late 90s, as the face of a new experiment called Skylanders: Spyro's Adventure. The concept was radical. Each toy contained a tiny NFC chip that stored data. Place a figure on the glowing portal of power, and that character would appear instantly inside the game, complete with its saved stats and abilities. Take the same toy to a friend's house, place it on their portal, and your progress would carry over. It wasn't just a game. It was an ecosystem. Kids didn't ask for DLC, they asked for another figure. Within months, Skylanders became the #1 children's game franchise of 2012. Retailers couldn't restock shelves fast enough. By early 2013, Activision had sold over 100 million figures. The company's annual report credited the franchise for nearly $1 billion in revenue, putting it shoulder to shoulder with Call of Duty. The genius of Skylanders lay in how it blended psychology and play. Each character wasn't just a collectible, it was access to new parts of the game. Certain areas required a water or fire Skylander, turning toy collecting into functional progression. Parents saw toys. Activision saw recurring income. Every figure sold for roughly $9 to $15 USD. Starter packs cost $70. New waves of figures launched every few months, each advertised with cinematic trailers and colorful TV spots. The marketing fused the joy of unboxing with the thrill of discovery. Children built armies of characters: Spyro, Gil Grunt, Stealth Elf, Trigger Happy. Playdates turned into trade shows. Portals lit up bedrooms across the world with neon rings of green and blue. Activision doubled down. In 2012 came Skylanders Giants, introducing larger, light-up figures that activated special abilities. In 2013, Swap Force arrived, arguably the franchise's golden age, where each figure split in half, magnetically snapping together to form hundreds of character combinations. Each new release added another mechanical hook: traps that captured enemies, vehicles that raced through miniature worlds, crystals that stored custom characters. The gameplay itself evolved modestly, but the toys exploded in variety. By 2015, analysts estimated the series had generated more than $3 billion in lifetime sales and over 250 million physical toys. For perspective, that's more units than the entire LEGO Star Wars line at the time. Skylanders wasn't just a game anymore. It was a retail phenomenon. Big box stores like Walmart and Toys R Us dedicated entire aisles to it. Rows upon rows of portals, booster packs, and glowing plastic. Midnight launches for new figures drew lines of parents holding shopping lists. Activision saw the model as infinite: yearly sequels, annual toy waves, and an ever-growing universe. But in that same success lay the seed of collapse. By 2013, Skylanders wasn't just a hit. It was a movement. Kids lined up outside GameStop and Toys R Us at midnight releases. YouTubers filmed unboxings that pulled millions of views overnight. The Portal of Power had become a household symbol, an object every parent recognized even if they'd never held a controller. Released in 2013, Skylanders Swap Force pushed the concept beyond collectible toys. Each figure separated at the waist and reattached magnetically, creating over 250 unique character combinations. For the first time, the game engine recognized both halves independently, producing new power sets, voices, and animations on the fly. Activision's 2013 investor report credited Swap Force with more than $1.5 billion in cumulative franchise sales, calling it one of the fastest growing children's properties in company history. Magazines like Time for Kids and Game Informer praised it for blending physical creativity with digital gameplay. Stores couldn't keep the figures in stock. Starter packs sold out within hours of release, and restocks vanished just as quickly. A Swap Force display at a New York City Toys R Us stretched an entire aisle, Hundreds of glowing boxes under spotlights, each promising new adventures. Activision followed success with Skylanders Trap Team in 2014. This time, players could capture in-game villains using transparent plastic crystals called traps. When a monster was defeated, its voice echoed from the portal's built-in speaker, as if it had been sucked inside. For young players, it felt like magic. The marketing matched the spectacle. Television ads showed kids catching villains in glowing cages. McDonald's Happy Meals featured miniature traps as giveaways. Billboard campaigns stretched from London to Los Angeles, and Skylanders became a fixture of holiday toy catalogs worldwide. Analysts estimated the franchise had passed $3 billion in total revenue and 250 million figures sold globally. That meant more toys in circulation than people living in Brazil. At its height, Skylanders had its own merchandising wing inside Activision. There were backpacks, school supplies, comic books, and a Netflix-distributed animated series, Skylanders Academy, greenlit shortly after. Spyro, Stealth Elf, and Chaos became recognizable mascots for an entire generation of preteen gamers. Retailers devoted prime shelf space to the brand. Entire end caps at Walmart and Target displayed glowing portals and exclusive character variants like Legendary Trigger Happy and Dark Spyro. Convention halls hosted life-size statues. Developer panels drew crowds rivaling those of major shooters. Imitation was inevitable. Disney launched Disney Infinity in 2013, promising figures of Woody, Buzz, and Jack Sparrow that could join the same sandbox world. Nintendo followed with Amiibo in 2014, letting players scan Mario or Link directly into Super Smash Bros. Or Mario Kart 8. Even LEGO entered the race with LEGO Dimensions. The market was suddenly crowded. Every company wanted a slice of the toys-to-life gold rush. Shelves filled with near-identical starter packs, glowing portals, NFC bases, collectible figures in plastic domes. Parents faced decision fatigue, and kids divided into factions: Skylanders loyalists, Infinity fans, and Amiibo collectors. Still, Skylanders held the crown through 2015. The release of Superchargers introduced vehicles, airships, submarines, and cars that could be driven both on-screen and across kitchen tables. The innovation kept the franchise technically fresh, even as signs of exhaustion began to appear. Sales remained strong, but no longer grew. The once limitless aisles of stock started to shrink after Christmas 2015. Retail partners noticed slower turnover, and early clearance bins appeared at Target and Best Buy. What had felt like a perpetual motion machine was starting to stall. Behind the scenes, development teams were stretched thin. Activision had multiple studios rotating annual releases: Toys for Bob, Vicarious Visions, and Beanox, each racing to deliver another innovation before the market cooled. But the formula was reaching its limit. Families had spent hundreds of dollars on plastic already. New mechanics required entirely new toy lines. By the end of 2015, executives saw the curve flattening. A franchise that had rewritten the rules of children's entertainment was about to discover what happens when a revolution becomes routine. By 2016, the once unstoppable Skylanders empire was showing cracks. What had begun as an exciting blend of toy collecting and video gaming was now facing the same fate that every annualized blockbuster eventually meets: exhaustion. For parents, the franchise had gone from magical to overwhelming. Each new game introduced an entirely new toy ecosystem. The figures from older entries often worked in limited ways or not at all in the newest releases, making previous investments feel obsolete. At its core, Skylanders had built its fortune on scarcity. The idea that you needed one more character to unlock something new. But by 2016, scarcity had turned to surplus. Retailers were drowning in stock. Entire end caps sat untouched for months. Discount bins overflowed with discounted Trap Team and Superchargers figures marked down from $14.99 to $2.99. Toys R Us, once Skylanders' biggest retail partner, reported severe overstock in internal memos cited by Forbes and Bloomberg analysts at the time. In October 2016, Skylanders Imaginators launched with an ambitious idea. Players could design their own characters from scratch. giving fans creative control for the first time. The physical hook came in the form of creation crystals, transparent capsules that stored a single custom-built Skylander. Once you locked in your design, it stayed permanent, forever tied to that crystal. Technically impressive, commercially disastrous. According to NPD group data, Imaginators sold fewer than half the units of superchargers during its launch window. Stores cut shelf space. Activision quietly scaled back production for the following year. Even a star cameo from Crash Bandicoot, added to promote Activision's upcoming Insane trilogy, couldn't reverse the deadline. The warning signs were everywhere. Disney Infinity, once Skylanders' biggest rival, was cancelled in 2016 despite having Marvel and Star Wars licenses. LEGO Dimensions followed in 2017. Nintendo's Amiibo survived only because they connected to existing major franchises rather than requiring annual game releases. The entire toys-to-life genre had burned out. Parents, burned by years of expensive collecting, simply moved on to cheaper mobile experiences and digital-only games. The shift was cultural. Tablets replaced consoles as the default children's entertainment device. App Store purchases replaced toy aisles. And Activision saw the writing on the wall. When Imaginators underperformed, Activision didn't immediately announce a cancellation. They just stopped talking about the brand. In February 2017, CEO Eric Hirschberg publicly confirmed that there would be no new Skylanders console game that year. Instead, the company would focus on mobile spin-offs and the upcoming Skylanders Academy animated series for Netflix. Behind the scenes, Activision's priorities had changed. Call of Duty and Overwatch were generating record-breaking digital revenue through cosmetics and loot boxes. Unlike Skylanders, they didn't require manufacturing, shipping, or retail partnerships. Each Skylander figure cost roughly $1 to $2 to produce, package, and distribute. Digital microtransactions, meanwhile, had virtually zero marginal cost and infinite scalability. From a business standpoint, the choice was obvious. In 2018, Skylanders Ring of Heroes launched as a mobile RPG. Despite strong art design and familiar characters, it never gained traction. After 2 years of modest updates, the servers quietly shut down in early 2022. Toys for Bob moved on to Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, while Vicarious Visions merged into Blizzard to support Diablo 2 Resurrected. The creative minds behind the toys-to-life phenomenon were reassigned to Activision's core franchises. Skylanders wasn't officially canceled, it simply faded away. By the late 2010s, 3 key factors sealed its fate. Retail dependency. Skylanders needed physical shelf space to thrive. With Toys R Us gone, bankrupt in 2018, and retail foot traffic declining, its entire business model evaporated. Live service games like Fortnite and Minecraft replaced toy collecting with digital skins and battle passes. Kids could flex their identity online without owning a single piece of plastic. Corporate strategy. Activision's acquisition by Microsoft in 2023 further deprioritized small-scale experimental franchises. Under Xbox's leadership, the focus became Game Pass integration and high-profile IPs like Call of Duty, Diablo, and Elder Scrolls. In short, the economy that made Skylanders possible no longer exists. The world moved from physical ownership to digital presence, from shelves to servers. Skylanders had proven that children would spend real money for tangible characters that existed in both worlds. But once digital-only microtransactions arrived, that same psychology no longer needed toys. The idea lived on even if the figures didn't. When Skylanders vanished from store shelves, it didn't disappear from memory. For the generation that grew up between 2011 and 2016, those plastic figures weren't just toys. They were their first gateway into gaming independence. And as that generation aged into adulthood, nostalgia came calling. By 2023, social media began rediscovering Skylanders. TikTok's nostalgia algorithm started surfacing clips of portals lighting up after years in storage, or creators unboxing sealed starter packs for the first time since childhood. Hashtags like Skylanders Collection and Toys to Life pulled tens of millions of views. Collectors who had stored their figures in boxes were suddenly sitting on valuable artifacts. A sealed dark Spyro or gold hothead could sell for $300 to $600, while rare promotional variants like employee-exclusive Wham Shell sometimes pushed over $1,000 on eBay. YouTube channels dedicated entire episodes to restoration, cleaning portals, testing NFC chips, rebuilding full rosters. One of the most viewed videos of 2024 showed a fan completing a full 300-figure wall display, lit by LED strips, earning over 1 million views within a month. What used to be kids merch had become a retro gaming collectible class. Like Game Boy cartridges or early Pokemon cards, Skylanders entered that same nostalgia economy. Limited supply, strong emotional attachment, and the social media reward of rediscovery. To outsiders, the fascination seems strange, but collectors describe something deeper, a return to a tactile gaming experience that no modern live service model can replace. Each Skylander has physical weight. It glows when placed on the portal. It holds a memory chip with your saved progress. In a world of cloud saves and digital skins, that tangibility feels almost rebellious. Forums like r/Skylanders and Discord communities began cataloging every variant, packaging code, and manufacturing batch. They built spreadsheets of NFC identifiers, mod tools, and restoration guides. In a sense, the community rebuilt the franchise from the ground up without Activision's help. When Microsoft completed its acquisition of Activision Blizzard King in 2023, fan speculation reignited. The Skylanders IP came with the deal, sitting in the same vault as Spyro and Crash Bandicoot. Rumors swirled about potential remasters or a Spyro's Adventure collection for Game Pass. Industry analysts, however, remained cautious. As of late 2025, no credible reports suggest any active development. Reviving Skylanders would mean rebuilding molds, renewing NFC tech licenses, and navigating an expensive supply chain for a market that now expects everything to be digital. Even a digital-only reboot would face brand confusion. Without the toys, is it still Skylanders? Still, fans remain hopeful. They imagine a hybrid return. Limited edition figures that unlock downloadable characters, or AR-enabled mobile portals. The technology exists. What's missing is corporate will. Despite its disappearance, Skylanders changed gaming in measurable ways. It proved physical-digital integration could succeed. The success of Amiibo and even NFC-based phone payments drew from the same concept. Simple one-tap identity linking a real object to digital data. It reshaped business models. The microtransaction economies of today, battle passes, cosmetic stores, limited time skins, all trace conceptual DNA back to the collect-to-play loop that Skylanders perfected. It forged a generation of creators. Many now grown fans who filmed unboxings as kids went on to become YouTubers, animators, and game designers. The franchise taught them production, storytelling, and marketing before they ever took a class. Skylanders was lightning in a bottle. Part video game, part toy line, part cultural experiment. It arrived at the perfect moment, before tablets took over, before digital cosmetics replaced physical ones, and before parents grew weary of yearly collectathons. Its downfall wasn't a failure of imagination, but of timing. The world changed faster than its portal could spin. Yet even now, a faint blue glow still flickers in bedrooms and basements across the world. Old portals powering on, data loading from plastic heroes frozen in time. For a brief few years, Skylanders made magic feel real, and for those who were there, that magic never truly faded.